Good morning. Welcome to Beyond the SEAF Model. I'm Jack Kosar. This is effective for the week of June 30th, 2025. Let's get started. SEAF signals for this week. Technology, communication services, and industrials. We drop energy after energy had a really rough week after kind of a trailing couple of weeks that was pretty solid. That kind of flipped on its head. Technology remains strong, about as strong as they can get at ranking for overall 3 with ones across the board. Communication services takes a little bit of break on the trading week, and we see some strength out of industrials. Heading into our heat map. Again, more or less aligned with the way we're seeing things going. Flows in general have been relatively weak. We're actually on 25 days in a row with no positive or negative change for the total AUM number being over 1% on any particular day. Still relatively light, though we have found a champion in technology with 0.61% this week on the trading week. And then industrials coming in at 2 with a 0.22. But overall, this board is kind of aligned the way we'd like to see it. Reds more or less leaning toward the bottom, with greens more or less at the top. Seeing a little bit of red here in the middle here in the technical month for discretionary and utilities, but a lot of strength up here at the top. Other things we're looking at, I keep showing this particular chart. I think it's prescient to the current times, especially with the way we're seeing flows incrementally increase at a little bit of a slower pace. Obviously, what you have here is the total AUM if you added it up for the 11 sector spiders. And as you can see here, we've seen some massive jumps going back in the last year, even going back a couple of months ago, but we've had this really kind of incremental growth here. The key to this chart here, this is a 21-day moving average on the AUM. As long as we're above the 21-day, good things happen. And when we're below the 21-day, bad things happen here. So we enhanced this chart a little bit this week, kind of just highlighting some of the percentages. But, when this total AUM dropped below the 21-day moving average, it avoided about 10.65% of the down move in the S&P 500. And when we got up above that 21-day moving average, we have appreciated in price by 14.84%. So overall, this is seemingly in recent times a good metric to kind of just judge on the overall health of the market. And as you can see here, we're slightly accelerating off that 21-day moving average for AUM, though slowly. Overall AUM on this week, we were up 2.2%. with all positive days, as the market seems happy with the way things are going. On to our rainbow charts. Last but actually least this week, energy. We kind of talked about energy last week, and showed you a price chart. Energy has really struggled to break through some of its upward resistance, and that we can kind of see this in the rainbow charts here. We've kind of tucked into favored a couple of times. We've had little bits of relative outperformance, and then we drop right back down, and we did that again. This is the relative performance chart versus SPY, and as you can see here, we've picked up a little bits of relative outperformance as we've gone from avoid neutral into favored, and then aggressively shot back down. We did that same thing. The other thing, we had a good question from one of our users this week. So these numbers on the left-hand chart, this is the relative performance number, and I just want to give a quick overview of what that means. So the way we calculate relative performance is you have the price of the ETF that you're getting your relative performance versus its benchmark. So in this case, we're doing XLE divided by the price of SPY. That gives us our relative performance number. This number itself is not meaningful. Different that from if you were looking at a price chart, the price obviously means something. The relative performance, it's more of how it reacts versus the S&P 500 than it is on that 0.175 means anything. So when we're looking looking at, our rainbow charts, they're all going to have different scales because their overall price versus the S&P 500 is going to be different. Energy XLE is not trading at the same price as communication services or industrials. So these numbers will change a little bit, but their relative performance versus SPY is what's important. And as you can see here, for energy, we've kind of been in a broad downtrend going back in the last year, and that's kind of where that importance lies. Not necessarily on the specific number, but how that relationship of energy versus SPY is. We'll see here with technology why that's important, right? So this 0.4 number or 0.42 number isn't really important. What's important here is that we have been strongly relatively outperforming SPY going back since April. That has really been dictated a lot since we've spent a lot of time in this upper favored ranking, and we are really seeing some strong outperformance. We've really broken through what was a sideways trend in technology for the better part of last year, and we're actually going to start to approach the relative performance high of July of last year. So kind of going full circle here, but technology still looks extremely strong, really strong relative outperformance, highest score that we can give it, so good things happen for technology. Industrials popped up, drove through. We really picked up on the trading week with 0.22. Not significant that we're looking for at 0.4. We really will start to need to see some accumulation here. We haven't had that across the board for industrials. It's outperforming the other sectors at the moment. Broad uptrend in relative outperformance versus SPY, and a little bit of an uptick here. We will need to see some sustained flows to really kind of drive this thing up forward and hopefully start to see a turn in that relative outperformance chart. Communication services, similar to tech in the sense that it's maintained this nice favored ranking. It's not as high as technology has been, and we've seen a nice steady relative outperformance trend. It's not that parabolic looking chart that we're seeing with technology, but communication services still looking strong, edging itself upward. We're in a little bit of a box here. Would like to see some acceleration in the relative outperformance versus SPY, but we're keeping pace with the benchmark right now and really trading in relative outperforming in a broader uptrend going back to last year. And that is all I have for this week. I look forward to breaking down the SEAF model with you all next week, and thank you.